100% against the privatization plan. This is a bad plan for NYCHA. This is a bad plan for the city. It further obscures the city from any real responsibility for taking care of its residents, and I'm 100% committed to fighting behind our residents for a real plan to get real funding for NYCHA and keep public housing public.
The Greg Russ plan is terrible. We have to oppose it. We must oppose privatization of NYCHA. If NYCHA residents were their own city, it would be one of the largest cities in America. We don't privatize our cities, we don't privatize our people, and we certainly don't privatize NYCHA. We need real money in the city budget, the state budget, and the federal budget. President Biden just proposed $3 trillion in infrastructure spending. If you can't find $40 billion for a Green New Deal for NYCHA, you're doing it wrong. We must oppose this plan. We need capital dollars from Washington, from Albany, and from New York City.
Tenants must unite to defend their homes and stabilize our community.
大嫂，将军没有一片瓦砾是无辜的，围巢之下无完卵。只有我们自己行动起来，才能救自己，绝不能等闲视之。
If public housing is gone, no one can escape the rubble. Only we can save ourselves, and we must take this seriously. We hope that this action will get support from allies, elected representatives, and the media.
我们希望这次活动能够得到议员、媒体及社会各界的关注、支持和帮助。只要大家团结一致、齐心协力，取消私有化，信托才能保持一个安全、环保、持久稳定的政府人社区。
As long as everyone unites to fight privatization and the NYCHA Trust, we can win environmentally friendly, safe, and sustainable homes.
谢谢大家。
How's everybody feel? I can't hear you. We're going to have a host of things today. We have several speakers. Let's give it up for Holmes Towers. Let's give it up for the good old Lower East Side. Give it up for New York Community Party. Give it up for CAB Organizing Asian Community. Give it up for WEAC. Give it up for SECA. And give it up for public housing residents and their allies. That's the spirit. Here we go. We're going to get this thing on the road. We're here today we're fighting against saving public housing. Also, I failed to mention Preserve for Public Housing as well as here. I'm also a member, I should know that. However, we're going to bring up our speakers and so forth, but just before I bring up the first speaker, I just got to share a little information with you about what is going on. We've done that. We've done that. All right. The blueprint for change, first of all, we say no to the blueprint. No to the blueprint. Okay? It was launched back on July of 2020 by Mr. Greg Russ during a pandemic. The New York version of the RAD programs from the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development is called Permanent Affordability Commitment Together. There's nothing permanent, there's nothing affordable, there's no commitment, and there ain't nothing together. Through RAD, NYCHA Developments ended a 20-year public-private partnership to help secure more money for renovations. In this process, they want to take away Section 9 development, which is public housing, turn it into Section 8 private housing, consider Section 8 vouchers and more reliable, meaningful, secure federal funding for repairs. The buildings would be managed by private companies, RAD is similar to the NYCHA's Blueprint for Change, converting 62,000 units from Section 9 housing to Section 8 through a public-private partnership and creation of public housing preservation trust. We say no to that. Senator Brian Kavanaugh, who thinks he has a good plan, and State Committee on Housing Chair Stephen Kimbrowitz has pushed this plan for days, for which he has is a conflict of interest, because I'm calling him out today. He has his wife who's employed by NYCHA. How dare you? We want a true seat from the beginning to end in our CRF 964 rules and regulations. That is our Bible, and that is what we're going to stand by, and we're going to live and die by it. No justice! No justice! No justice! My name is Ronald Topping. I'm a president of Adam Houses in the South Bronx. We have all 5 boroughs here representing. I'm also recording secretary for the District South Bronx District Council of Presidents. I'm a community activist, and everybody knows when they give me a mic, I keep it real. All right, here we go. We're going to bring up our next speaker, which is Kathy from the Justice for All Coalition. Give her a hand.
It's all right, I got a mask on.
Testing, can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Bladicus. I'm a mother living in Queensbridge Houses and a member of the Justice for All Coalition. I moved my family to Queensbridge in 2013 as a domestic violence survivor. NYCHA is not perfect, and I have been working with Justice for All to hold them accountable for the repairs and the current, and I am withholding my rent. But public housing has provided a sense of stability and affordability for my family that we wouldn't be able to find in the private market. If I was living in the private market, I would literally have to work 2 to 3 jobs just to keep the roof over my family's heads. Because private housing is not private. It's not affordable. There's no such thing as affordable in the private market. I attended 3 to 4 Greg Russ's Blueprint Town Hall meetings, but after December I stopped because it's the same shenanigans, him selling us a dream. And I can see right through that. He speaks in code basically, and investment terminology to try to confuse us to get us on board with his financial plan for our homes and communities. He's trying to teach NYCHA residents like we're children. Oh, look at this lavish apartment, this shiny new toy, without really telling us the fine print. He's talking about how much money he's going to raise, but he's not talking about the jeopardy he's putting our homes in. What happens? What really will happen when the trust cannot pay the debts back? The properties can be foreclosed and sold to private landlords, and this is not what he is saying. And then we can also consider what landlords the city is choosing for private partners in RAD conversions, from Wavecrest to other landlords known for evicting and harassing tenants. You know privatization is a false bribe. He's saying, look at what we're giving you, but in reality, they're taking so much more away from us. What would the blueprint really mean for our future? What we need is guaranteed public funding. We need it now, and we need these repairs made for our health and well-being for us and our families. Thank you.
Give it up for Kathy. All right, we're going to bring up our next speaker, and that is going to be Andrea Coleman from the Isaac Coalition, One NYCHA. Give her a hand. No what? Justice. No what? Justice. I said no what? No what? No trust. Okay? All right. get it back.
Who keeps us safe? Who keeps us safe? Who keeps us safe? When I say one NYCHA, you say one people. One NYCHA. One NYCHA. One NYCHA. One NYCHA. We are here today in such a time as this because our government has failed us. In year 2021, we are still fighting for repairs. Greetings, I am Andrea Coleman, one of the co-founders of the Holmes Isaacs Coalition and a co-founder and co-host of the One NYCHA podcast. I am also an activist and organizer fighting for Black lives that matter. UES for BLM, where y'all at? The deterioration of public housing is not the stakeholders' fault. The disinvestment stems back when the white flight became evident. Our government had no real desire to maintain our apartments that Black and brown people were residing in. When Black and brown people began moving into NYCHA, they were delighted to leave the conditions of the tenements, as were the whites. Heads of NYCHA began mismanaging funds, and the city, state, and federal government began disinvesting in NYCHA. Now, decades later, our savior is privatization schemes? Actually not. No. NYCHA is responsible for their portfolio. They are the ones that got us in these deplorable conditions. They are the ones who are responsible for eradicating it. Keep public housing public and stop making developers richer. It is shameful during a global pandemic. NYCHA is very adamant in pushing their blueprint for change plan. We are sick and tired of their privatization scheme. The decades of systemic failures and neglect by the New York City Public Housing Authority should criminally be investigated. They have committed crimes. Someone should be going to jail. There's kids that have been poisoned with lead. There's a lady, Eleanor Bumper's great-granddaughter in Forest Houses was moved from one apartment to the other. One was the child had tested positive for lead. They put her in a new apartment 2 weeks ago. Guess what? That one has lead too. That's criminal. So, it is dangerous to live in New York City public housing developments. Our physical health is put at risk daily due to the inhumane and unsanitary conditions. We desire our homes and the infrastructure to be preserved while still keeping public housing public. Today we call for the cancellation of rent. The cancellation of rent. We're paying rent and not getting the services that we deserve, from no heat to no hot water to inoperable elevators. Are you kidding me? People living without gas for months. Infestation running through the apartments. We are living in a third world country atmosphere, and it is unacceptable. And we need accountability, and we need qualified immunity abolished. These bad actors need to be held accountable criminally, and we should be able to sue them civilly. So as I said, we call for the cancellation of rent. I say scrap the blueprint. Yes. Scrap the blueprint. Yes. Scrap the blueprint. Scrap the blueprint. Scrap the blueprint. Scrap the blueprint. Got some more. Scrap rent. Scrap rent. Scrap rent. Scrap rent. Scrap pack. Scrap pack. Scrap pack. Scrap infill. Scrap infill. Scrap infill. Scrap infill. And fund NYCHA now. Fund NYCHA now. Fund NYCHA now. Fund NYCHA now.
Andrea Coleman, Isaac Tower. Hey, hey, ho, ho, real estate has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, real estate has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, real estate has got to go. Ho, ho, real estate has got to go. All right? Listen, this is serious, you all. We're losing our homes, and we have to stand in solidarity. We got to keep this thing moving. When NYCHA says get back, we say fight back. NYCHA says get back. We say fight back. When NYCHA says get back, we say fight back. Hey, hey, ho, ho, real estate has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, real estate has got to go. Our next speaker is going to be Josh Barlett from Local 375 DC 37. Please give a warm welcome for Josh Barlett.
How's everybody doing? Good. I want to thank Kev and everybody for showing up. As he said, I'm a member of Local 375 DC 37 AFSCME. I'm representing the NYCHA Union Coalition, and we're here to bring solidarity from the NYCHA workers to the NYCHA residents. Your landlord is our boss, and we're both being sold to the corporations, and we can't let it happen. Public housing has to remain public. Red is privatization, make no mistake about it. The blueprint is privatization. And those of us who work for NYCHA know that we have a lot of experience with this. NYCHA has a long history of outsourcing work to high-priced consultants, spending your taxpayer dollars to displace resident hires, to displace union hires with no audit, no accountability. They're always doing this stuff behind closed doors. They don't talk to you about the plans. They don't talk to us about the plans, and we have to make sure that it doesn't happen. Privatization always is an attack on the working class, whether it's public housing, public transportation, public education, public parks, public libraries. Whenever they bring in the banks, there are always strings attached, and it means it only does one thing really well. It makes the corporations rich, but it doesn't do anything for any of us. RAD also has a track record around the country where it's been done before in Raleigh, Spokane, Baltimore, San Francisco. There's been a rise in evictions, less accountability, lowering of wages, and again, they don't want us to know anything about this, but we can't let it happen here. This is a horribly gentrified city. This is the last stock of affordable housing. We can't let it go over to the corporations. Every time we come down here, there are new towers going up, but there's always money for that, but never money for the people need, right? And they always say that they have to bring in private money because the money isn't there. Of course the money's there. If they tax the rich, if they tax Wall Street, if they tax the corporations. If City Hall in Albany finally step up, if they cut the bloated war budget. HUD is federally funded, but they have a $700 billion war budget going to make the world safe for Exxon, and people here can't find a place to live. We have to make sure that money is given to human needs and not for perpetual wars. Just right. Exactly. NYCHA Union Coalition, our buttons say housing for people, not profit. Public housing is not for sale. We have to keep this going. We need more public housing, not less. We have to support the Green New Deal for public housing. Real plans to make sure that people have a place to live. The money's there, but we're there also, and we're going to make it happen. So keep up the struggle, and we're definitely with you.
When I say tenants, you say power. Tenant! Tenant! All right, we got so much going on here in this city. I just can't understand how we built this country off the backs of slaves and immigrants. Now the rich man wants to come back, take back the property and set it at a price that we cannot afford. We used to trade the cotton from the deep south from Mississippi on Wall Street, and this is what we get in exchange. We're not going for it. No justice! No justice! No justice! bring up to the mic and at the podium is Miss Vanessa McKnight from the Red Hook Initiative. Let's give a big, warm, helping hand for Vanessa McKnight.
Good morning, everybody. Oh boy, where do I start? We don't want red. We don't want the blueprint. We definitely don't want Greg Ross. And we want Bill de Blasio to step up and do his job. Several developments across the boroughs are suffering. You have mold, you have lead, you have trash not being picked up. We don't have enough workers, maintenance men. They're working them down to the ground. You used to have indoor and outdoor workers. Now you have one worker doing both jobs, so nothing is getting done. I'd like to send a message to Greg Ross to tell him, we don't want him, he has to go. We don't want Bill de Blasio either, he has to go. We want NYCHA fully funded. We want them to give us a seat at the table. People who make 6 figures plus make decisions for us without us being at the table. We do have a voice, as you see, we have to keep going. We cannot idly sit by and allow this to take place. My apartment is not for rent. Is your apartment for rent? No! I meant to say sale, we're renting. Is your apartment for sale? No! What we gonna do about it? Fully fund? Yes! All right, I don't have much to say. We all know, there's a repeat.
I get to the next one. Okay, listen up. We got a few more speakers, and we want everybody to stay cohesively, coherently, and collaborate with this march. We don't want anybody losing. We are strong by numbers. Together we stand. Together we stand. Together we stand. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I want to share something else with you. Mayor de Blasio, and yes, I'm calling them out. Mayor de Blasio, who anticipated his involvement with bringing Greg Ross from here, from Minneapolis. Greg Ross stands to gain a great deal of damn wealth while we other people suffer with deals and tally developing corporations. His wife and father-in-law owns that. They want to bring that to New York. Are we going to let him in? Are we going to let him in? Are we going to let him in? Wave Trust and Cross Realty, some of the poorest damn managing corporations in New York City and throughout the country, they want a piece of the rock. Are we letting them in? Are we letting them in? Hell no. No more prioritizing, that's right. Our next speaker comes from the seeker, Ms. Brenda Temple from Ocean Bay out in Queens. She's going to give you something. She's going to tell you what's going on. My good protege, Brenda Temple.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Can I get all my seeker people to come up here, please? Just line up over here. Show your signs, represent, along with everyone else. So, when NYCHA says, get back, we say, NYCHA says, get back, we say, NYCHA says, get back, what do we say? I grew up in Ravenswood houses, moved to create a better life for myself, and due to systemic disparities, I found myself back in public housing. I call it my safe haven. How ironic. But that is where I found my voice. My name is Brenda Temple. I am a resident of Oceanside Houses in Far Rockaway, Queens. I am a member of the Committee for Independent Community Action, also known as SECA. Dr. Lenora Villani founded NYCHA 10 years ago. The NYCHA supports independent, grassroots leaders working in New York City. The Committee for Independent Community Action is a program of the All Stars Project, Inc. As a member of NYCHA, I have been fighting for decent housing for New York City public housing residents. Over the years, many public housing residents have reached out to Dr. Villani and NYCHA to speak about the deplorable conditions. NYCHA has shown New Yorkers to be a corrupt, multi-billion-dollar agency. It is unable to manage its 173,000 apartments. We, as you know, have been fighting for decades to get repairs made to maintain decent housing. You also know conditions have gotten so bad that our homes are killing us with mold, vermin, lead paint, lack of heat and hot water, and faulty elevators. NYCHA is in charge of committing violence towards Black, brown, and Asian people. Today, we stand here in front of the executive offices of the New York City Housing Authority. It is important that we rally here. We are making the point to the executives that we are essential people. We are families who work and contribute to this city. We are actually the backbone of this city. And you should see that by now, during COVID, how essential we really are. But the promise that the executives and NYCHA made, that is stated in our leases, says that it is to provide decent housing in exchange for our rent. That has been broken. NYCHA, you have broken the promise for many years. So it is good that we are here today, and we need to do more. We must build our own voice by building our own resident organizations that express what we want for healthy and safe housing. One of the conditions for that demand is that public housing not be outsourced to the private sector for their profit. The blueprint, red, infill, pact are schemes invented by NYCHA to cover up their incompetence by turning over management of public housing to developers who will profit. Blueprint in particular is a scheme that will allow financial institutions to lend NYCHA money based on tenant protection vouchers that NYCHA collects. But I want to make sure that this message is heard. We tenants are not protected by this scheme. Making a profit means the private financial lenders will determine what money they need to make from us. Greg Ross, he tells us about Blueprint. He tells us to support it, but he never invites us to the table. It's time we invite them to our table. Yes, it is important to rally here today, and we need to do more. Next time I want to see 1,000 of us from 600,000 residents and people who care. Please come out, tell your friends, your neighbors, that we need to save our homes. We need to create our own organizations that express what we want. One way to do that is with resident management, where we residents create councils to manage our buildings. We must expand this conversation to all residents. Rather than react to what NYCHA offers us, we must create our own organizations so that NYCHA must react to us. Resident management is a way to rally residents to create our own organizations. I want to thank you, and God bless all of our efforts.
Give it up for Brenda Temple. Thank you very much. When tenants are under attack, what do we do? When tenants are under attack, what do we do? When tenants are under attack, what do we do? Yes, that's exactly what we do. We know that HUD initiated getting Greg Russ to come to New York, but Mayor de Blasio had to give him $200,000 more to make sure he come up. We're gonna have to get him out of here. What do we say about Greg Russ? Greg Russ has got to go. Greg Russ has got to go. All right, our next speaker coming up will be from RPPH, Mr. Marquise Jenkins. Give it up.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to keep this short. Today we are here, we are deep, we are strong, but we're not simply here so that you can hear our voice. This is a warning. This is a warning to our elected officials that if you are not standing with us now, you best stick it in line. We are coming. As you heard, my name is Marquise Jenkins. I'm a community organizer with the Residents to Preserve Public Housing. The Residents to Preserve Public Housing formed in reaction to the blueprint. As many of our speakers have said, this blueprint was introduced without the input of the public housing residents. Residents came together trying to figure out what this plan was about. It caught them by surprise. And so, like always, they came together and began to organize. Secondly, this plan was introduced during the global pandemic. Again, you heard it from countless speakers. As we are dying from this virus, we are forced to organize to stop this plan. Private debt. We cannot afford to let our homes fall into private debt. So we have a $40,000 bill now that they refuse to pay. So now we put debt on top of the $40 billion, excuse me, $40 billion. And then the very rights, the very rules and regulations that were violated to create this blueprint, we stand to lose. Those 964 rules and regulations governs our ability to stand and be on par with the chairman. So I say to you, as the Residents to Preserve Public Housing, we are going to stop this plan from moving forward. Yeah! Can you hear me? We are saying no to this blueprint. Say it with me, no to the blueprint. No to the blueprint. No to the blueprint. Thank you very much. The Residents to Preserve Public Housing meet every Sunday from 3 to 5 on Zoom. Join us. We are forming, we are coming together, and we are organizing. We are going to introduce the residence plan because we say no to the blueprint. Thank you all. Right. One more thing. As we call on our current elected officials, as we tell them to stand with us, we are fully aware that there is a whole new batch of elected officials that are coming in. And I say to you the same that I say to our current elected officials. If you do not stand with us, we are coming after you. We are 600,000 deep. Yeah! We will vote you in, we will vote you out. On April 11th, the Residents to Preserve Public Housing will hold a candidate forum. This forum is designed not to hear what you are going to do for us. This forum is designed so that we can educate you, so that we can tell you this is what we expect of you. So on April 11th, we are inviting you to come and learn, hear from the residents themselves, get your marching orders from the residents, and then go out and get the job done. Thank you all.
Give it up for Marquise. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Public housing's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Am I out here by myself? All right, let's do this again, okay? Hey, hey, ho, ho. Real estate has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Real estate has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Real estate has got to go. Ho, ho. Real estate has got to go. Our next speaker is from the consecutive interpretation. Ms. Fang, please come to the speaking area. Let's give it up.
Hello, this is Ms. Fang from CAB's Asian Tenants Union, and I'll be interpreting from Mandarin to English after her whole speech.
大家好，我姓林，是愿意选会的会员。政府楼主席罗斯为谋取私利，滥用政府维修资金，官商勾结，大力宣传信托私有化，欺骗广大住客，推行蓝图远景规划，以各种借口把租客赶出政府楼。例如，明里苏达州有住客反映，罗斯以专修房屋反映罗斯以专修房屋翻新为借口，叫租户搬出，但是等房屋装修完成，租户搬回来时，罗斯以该楼已卖出，使租户无法搬回，从而失去家园。罗斯表面看起来是个漂亮的鸡蛋，其实内心是个臭坏蛋。这就是罗斯欺骗租户，强行推行私有化。这以上真实的案例，所以我们呼吁政府楼住客千万不要误入这种挂羊头卖狗肉的圈套，坚决反对私有化，团结一致，捍卫赖以生存的家园和社区。谢谢大家。
Hello, everyone. My last name is Ling, and I'm an Asian Tenants Union member. For his personal gain, NYCHA Chairman Russ is misappropriating funds meant for public housing repairs and colluding with officials to forcefully promote the trust privatization plan. He's deceiving the majority of public housing residents by implementing the blueprint plan with the long-term plan to use it as an excuse to kick out residents from public housing. For example, in Minnesota, public housing residents have reported that Russ used renovations as an excuse to evict tenants. In fact, when the buildings were done being renovated and the tenants moved back, Russ had already sold the building, making it impossible for tenants to move back home, losing their homes. This is like an egg that is pretty on the outside, but in fact, inside it is a rotten egg. This is Russ's scam for tenants. This is why he's forcibly promoting the trust privatization plan. This is what's really happening. So residents of public housing, don't be fooled by this scamming rotten egg plan. We must resolutely oppose privatization and the trust and unite together to defend our homes and communities which we depend on.
It is is a rotten egg. Yes, it is. Indeed, we're getting ready to gather ourselves up together as we're going to march over to 90 Church Street. And, oh, is that right? Yeah. Oh.
Thank you, Ronald. I just want to, by the way, this metaphor was something that one of our tenants, Ms. Huang, came up with. So we at CAV, last night, we found these rotten eggs. They happen to be called Blueprint Plan and Privatization. Are we interested in what's inside here, everyone? Are we interested in cracking these eggs? All right, let's go.